4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to Horror Analysis with me, Drew. Awesome. Today we're going to continue with Section E, non-narrative horror, and we're continuing also with horror music. Last time we went over classical horror music, and today we're going to go over contemporary horror music. But contemporary horror music is such a huge thing that I'm going to have to break it up further, splitting up rock and not rock. I'm going to go over the not rock first. It's a little bit shorter. I have less of a handle on it, to be honest, because I'm more of a rock fan. I do have to remember to do some of these. So, what is contemporary non-rock music anyway? Well, there's, country, folk, hip-hop, rap, which is the same thing, and dance music, or, electronic music. There's no folk horror, with the exception of The Werewolf, maybe, by... who was it by originally? It's been covered by the Violent Femmes. It's been covered by a couple of people. The Werewolf. Michael Hurley. Good song. He's still around. He was born in 41, so yeah, anyway. So Michael Hurley is a folk musician. He did a song called The Werewolf, which is a very good song. It's not horror, though. He's saying he is the werewolf, and he's trying to, the song is, see how bad my life is because I'm stuck being a werewolf. I guess I get it. It's the werewolf, as King states, where it's the, you feel bad for Dr. Jekyll because he's got to deal with Mr. Hyde. And you don't get a graphic description of the killing the woman, but he does kill a woman. He's just a lonely guy because he's a werewolf. It's basically Michael Hurley's Werewolf. Check it out. It's a good song. Country music? I don't have anything for horror country. That just seems incredibly weird to me. So that leaves rap and hip-hop. Rap, hip-hop, and dance music. Most of the rap and hip-hop stuff that considered horror, I just don't like, so I'm going to go over electronic music first, which is usually a lot better. It's more my preference, let's put it that way. And it's a precursor because actually the sampling that hip-hop does is going to be a lot of the same mindset as the electronic dark electronic and horror electronic. The subgenre that I'm thinking of more here is called Witch House. It's not really called Witch House because there's the Wikipedia page on Witch House, which is a very good thing. Actually, it's right here, as well as a list of some people I want to talk about today. So these guys, it's essentially house music with meets goth or meets horror music. You get the point from this stuff. Like if you listen to the theme song from the movie The Exorcist, or you listen to the theme song from the movie Halloween, you get this, well, at least with the intro before it cuts into the the more, what's the word? The intros of both of those songs are very electronic friendly. You could see them being looped over and over and be put in the dance music, but of course they're very famous and very recognizable, and it gives people the creeps, so it's a very interesting thing to do. Witch House sort of plays on that, sort of gets those sounds, gets those horror music sounds. If they're from a horror movie or not, they certainly are music that could be from a horror movie that doesn't exist. And puts like the house beats in there as well. And there's some other genres that they borrow from, which are usually genres I like shoegaze. Which is also dark themed and dreamy. It's very dreamy stuff, ethereal kind of thing. What did I want to talk about on this list? There's some good stuff on here. I don't know why a lot of these bands decide not to use letters. That annoyed me so much. The list comes from the Wikipedia page at the bottom. I cut down a lot of the stuff because I wasn't into it, or it just straight out wasn't horror. But these guys, actually a lot of the ones that don't use normal letters are the better of the ones. I put in crosses at the top. I didn't actually find it horrific. It's definitely atmospheric, but I put it in because it is Chino Moreno's, who's the lead singer from Deftones. He's it's that metally, new metal, dark, not horrific, but haunting. And of course this Crosses is a haunting side project of his. Let's see. Glass Teeth, which is this, that's what that is supposed to be. Glass Teeth, it's definitely the soundtrack of a horror movie that doesn't really exist kind of vibe. White Knives, Halloween soundtrack vibe, is one of their songs. Girls with a Z at the end, Girlz. Very trippy, disconcerting, and I would definitely recommend, if you get a chance, to check out their music videos, because their music videos are very, very cool and weird and disturbing. Very interesting stuff. What else do we have? Horse MacGyver, which is / triangle / or vice versa. I always get my slashes mixed up, which one's forward and which one's back. But Horse MacGyver, struck me as horror movie music. The stereotypical horror movie music meets stereotypical porn movie music, which is interesting. I'm not saying that it's good. It struck me as noteworthy. So, it struck me as, the bon mot for that. Bon mot is horror movie music meets porn movie music. I recommend checking him out. That's all I can say. As I'm going to say for most of these guys. Mater Suspiria Vision. I don't recommend. I wasn't into it at all. It was obscure, atonal, drumless stuff. It was disconcerting, but I didn't enjoy it. Unlike Rituals, which I enjoyed quite a bit of, and then I only wrote down cool stuff. I just put down, like, I would listen to Rituals, or cross, double cross, cross. I would listen to their CD in my car. It's cool stuff. The next one down, Salem, which of course we're talking about horror concepts. So Salem being where the witch trials were held in America. Oh, what am I doing? That one. So Salem, actually, this was what is this called? Night Night. I recommend the music video for Night Night as well. It's Knight Night. So night like in armor, and then night as in this thing that comes after day. My notes on this were, it's a kicking track. Good job, Drew. If dubstep was good, that's my second one, so that's sort of a jab. But if dubstep was good, meets horror movie soundtrack. And I definitely recommend the music video. I mean, electronic music is not my usual thing, but I usually like it if it's a kind I like. There's some that I don't like, but I can listen to it if it strikes my, if it hits my buttons. You know what I mean? So there's The White Ring. The music videos were certainly horror movie-esque. The music didn't really strike me that way. Zola Jesus, which is the vocalist Nico Rosa Danilova. I didn't really strike me as horror, more as haunting or atmospheric. But it's good. And Vessel is a song that I quite enjoyed. And I would recommend Zola Jesus checking it out yourself. Check out the song Vessel. It's kind of haunting. It's good. But I mean, the list on Wikipedia, this page down here, it's got a page worth of stuff here. It's, as you can see, it starts here and then goes all the way down to the bottom. Alphabetical order, or as alphabetical as you can get, because they don't use letters in their names, a lot of them. They use symbols, which is annoying. And I don't know what it is. It's just bad. I wish they wouldn't have done that, because a lot of these are good people, but Glass Teeth, they did it. Rituals, they don't even have a name. They just have regular cross, double cross, regular cross. And it's Rituals with a Z in parentheses. So, some of the stuff just didn't strike me as worth mentioning, but some of this stuff is definitely worth mentioning. Check out the Wikipedia page. Apparently they don't like being called Witch House. I guess it unitasts them, or pigeonholes them, I guess would be the complaint that the artists have about being termed Witch House. Like, there's house music, and then there's, when it gets into the weirder stuff, they're called Witch House, which is sort of a pigeonhole. I can see that. I can see why they'd fight it. But for a subgenre, and Wikipedia is good at subgenres. It's one of the things they do well. It's a good one to check out. I will go over some of the darkwave stuff because it does border on rock a little bit, so I'll go over it again. But Das Ich, D-A-S-I-C-H, with a space in the middle. It was one of my co-workers' favorite electronic music people, and they're labeled in Wikipedia as darkwave, which when I asked him about it, he didn't really think it was, but Destillat was more horror-esque to me than others. A lot of these other bands in the darkwave, Das Ich was a progenitor of darkwave, like one of the guys who came before, and the other people who were into Das Ich went on to this darkwave stuff, and they become more rock-focused. So it's worth mentioning, but not really part of non-rock stuff. But Das Ich is an electronic artist. And then we go on to the second part, which is going to be rap hip-hop. And most of this I didn't like at all. The typical name for horror rap or horror hip-hop is horrorcore. It's a hardcore rap taken a step further into horror. It sounds like it. If you get the hardcore rap, I'm not a rap fan, I'm not a hip-hop fan so much. I will listen to some people and I won't listen to others. I'm mostly part of the East Coast school. I like Southern and East Coast New York-based stuff. And we'll be talking about one of those guys anyway. But, a lot of the stuff in this horrorcore genre, the Horrorcore Wikipedia is a good place to check out. If you want to find out more about it, I'll go over some of the people that they list, and I'll go over some of the other people that they talk about as well. I tried listening to some of it, and pretty much gave up through halfway through each song. With the exception of the ones that I already know and like. In 1980 was the first one that Wikipedia mentions. Jimmy Spicer, Adventures of Super Rhyme, which is essentially Rapper's Delight done, and he talks about hanging out with Dracula or being Dracula and trying to rap as Dracula, which is just strange. Dana Dane's Nightmares was another one that they mentioned, coming out a few years after that. And 80s rap, it's definitely an 80s rap style. It's very atmospheric. It's called Nightmares, that's the name of the song. And it's, trying to be spooky sounding, so when they say nightmares, and then the music gets all wobbly. Wobbly music, I don't know what it is. But it's thematically not horror at all. He's having nightmares about having to hook up with an ugly chick, or a chick that he doesn't find attractive. Which, it's sort of a shame, because otherwise the song actually was talking about something terrifying. It would be really good for this stuff. It's not a bad song either way. It's one of the ones that I got through. Ghetto Boys, Getoboys. It's definitely dark stuff. They're the main first horrorcore groups. Mind Playing Tricks on Me was definitely dark, um, but it was still on the hardcore side. Hardcore before it gets to this horrorcore stuff. Hardcore. Well, I had to explain this to my mom, so I'm going to explain it to you guys how I explained it to my mom. So my mom obviously doesn't listen to rap. She's in her 60s, and I was trying to explain this as best I could. It's like, Mom, I know you don't listen to rap, but this is basically what this stuff is. If you take the most stereotypical violent rap, like the gangsters who go out and they, shoot people because they're gangsters, that sort of thing, and then you keep adding to it, and adding to it, and adding to it. So instead of a guy going out and shooting 10 people, it's a guy going out and shooting 100 people. Does it become horror then? Well, no, he takes a knife and he knifes 100 people. Okay? So it's not a gun anymore. It's still, hey, I'm a tough guy. Look at how many people I knifed. But it's not, when does just the, oh, look at how tough I am become horror? Well, for me it doesn't. You can make yourself into the monster, and sometimes they do. They say, oh, not only am I a tough guy, I'm also, a monster. Okay. But, it's the horror movie from the bad guy's perspective. Well, a horror movie from the bad guy's perspective isn't a horror movie. It's nothing. You don't get a horror movie from the bad guy's perspective, from the monster's perspective, because that would be awful. No director would ever do that. You never get any. If you never get any sympathy for the characters that are potential victims, which you don't, obviously, if it's from the perspective of the monster. With the exception of maybe like Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw, where you get to see the Leatherface, stressed out, for lack of a better word, because he's not. When Mark Gatiss interviewed Tobe Hooper, he said, well, it's Leatherface's really bad day as well as everybody else's. But if the whole movie was from Leatherface's point of view, it's not a movie. Or it's not a horror movie. I don't know. I think that's the problem. That's the core of the problem I have with horrorcore. And then, I just list the other things that they list on here. Insane Poetry, same vein as Ghetto Boys. Esham, Dark, same shit. Dayton Family, What's on My Mind, I didn't really get into. Bone Thugs and Harmony, which I grew up listening to some of it. I didn't buy the CDs, but it was on the radio often enough. You couldn't escape it often enough. They have this Mr. Ouija song, and I listened to it, and I just whatever. I didn't get into it at all. And a lot of these other ones were not good either. Grave Diggers. What was the one today? Oh, did I lose it? I didn't write it down. Let me see if I can get it back. Horrorcore. There's another one in that vein as well. Grave Diggers was okay. Flatliners with a Z, and Grave Diggers with a Z. Flatliners I listened to today. They had the Satan's. What was it called? Satan's. Satanic Verses was a single, and the music video. It was a guy who was eating eating the guts out of another guy. He had like a liver in this hand and a bunch of intestines on this hand. He was going like this and then rapping a bit. Again, with I'm a tough guy, but I'm an immortal tough guy or a monster tough guy. I get it. And of course, the rap stigma is you can't ever show that you are in any way a potential victim. But you don't get horror unless you have potential victim. After that, I listened to one of the other ones, was Insane Clown Posse. I actually tried to make it through a full song of them. I didn't succeed, but I tried. It was the video and the thing was a bunch. They're doing drugs and chopping people up with a chainsaw. Okay. Why? You're not. There's no victims that I care about. It's not horror. Stephen King actually had a point about this in his What's Scary essay. He said, after the first Friday the 13th movie, after the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where Freddy Krueger was a pedophile serial killer, we wanted to see him die, and we wanted to see him destroyed by the kids because he was a pedophile, child murderer, serial killer. We didn't want Freddy Krueger to win, right? But in the subsequent movies, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, 3, 4, etc., he became a buddy. A murderous buddy. And what we wanted from those was a high body count. That's Stephen King's point. We didn't care about the kids in movies 2, 3, 4, etc. What we wanted was to see Freddy kill a lot of people. Now, no one likes 2, 3, 4, etc. I mean, even horror anymore if we're rooting for Freddy. The argument can be either way. I guess I'm on the other side. I would always say, sure, it's okay in Freddy, but I'm not saying when it's Insane Clown Posse. I don't know. I don't think I'm being fair to it, or I'm having a double standard, which is possible. But even then, even on Nightmare on Elm Street 2, 3, 4, when the victim is about to be killed, you see it from his perspective, the victim's. That way you get the jump. If you're seeing it from Freddy's perspective, you're doing the jumping, or any of the serial killers, or Insane Clown Posse, or whatever. If you're doing the jumping, you don't get the horror. Something jumps out at you. Boom! Ah! That's a scare. If you're doing the jumping out at somebody else, you're not scared. It's not horror from your side of things, it's horror from their side of things. You following along what I'm going for? Good. Anyway, there are some things I did want to talk about that I liked. One of the things I thought of was I had to talk to one of my old coworkers, because she used to play a rap song, which wasn't her usual style. She's definitely more the psychobilly style, usually. But it was a local guy called Brzowski. Bryzowski. And apparently this guy raps and does this, does hip-hop. What's the verb for that? Is there a verb of he hip-hops? No. He raps. And he did an album called Mary Shelley Overdrive. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. It's definitely dark stuff. I thought I could only remember the song Long Day by him. And I couldn't actually remember it being horrific, but it was dark and atmospheric. The other one, of course, is Method Man, who Actually, it was 2000, so it's been quite a while since he's done it. But he did Judgment Day, his song Judgment Day, which was Apocalypse, which is generally a staple for horror movies. The apocalypse is a subgenre, or post-apocalyptic. It straddles the line between being post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic. It actually opens up with this really creepy spoken word thing, which was from the movie Cyborg, which was a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, so not really a horror movie, but post-apocalyptic movie. And so he sort of remakes this sort of thing. And he's creepy looking, because he's got the full black eyes. And this song is Countdown to Apocalypse. It actually counts down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and he raps. It's a good song. Go and watch the video. It's a great video as well. Right. So, horror, rap, hip hop, and stuff. I wasn't sure. I don't like it. The Witch House and the dark electronic music, I was very much into, and I very much recommend. If you're really into horrorcore, leave a comment, make a response video, and let me know, because I don't get it. Maybe I just don't get it, which is possible as well. But it strikes me as trying to be the monster. When you're trying to be the monster, you're not horror anymore, unless you're in some sort of mad scientist thing. Also would be a good thing for horrorcore to start doing, but they're not usually. Overreacher plot, I suppose. But yeah, let me know. Maybe I'm missing something obvious, but I don't think I am. But anyway, next time we're going to go into horror rock, horror punk, horror metal, gothabilly, shock rock, all that stuff. It's good stuff. Goth rock on non-narrative horror. With me, Drew. Thanks for watching Horror Analysis, and I'll see you next time. Lee's Werewolf. Check it out. It's a good song. Country music? I don't have anything for horror country. That just seems incredibly weird to me. So that leaves rap and hip-hop. Rap, hip-hop, and dance music. Most of the rap and hip-hop stuff that considered horror, I just don't like, so I'm going to go over electronic music first. Which is usually a lot better. It's more my preference, let's put it that way. And it's a precursor, because actually the sampling that hip-hop does is going to be a lot of the same mindset as the electronic dark electronic and horror electronic. The subgenre that I'm thinking of more here is called Witch House. It's not really called Witch House because there's the Wikipedia page on Witch House, which is a very good thing. Actually, it's right here, as well as a list of some people I want to talk about today. So these guys, it's essentially house music with meets goth or meets horror music. You get the point from this stuff. Like if you listen to the theme song from the movie The Exorcist, or you listen to the theme song from the movie Halloween. You get this, well, temporary non-rock music anyway. Well, there's, country, folk, hip-hop, rap, which is the same thing, and dance music, or, electronic music. There's no folk horror, with the exception of The Werewolf, maybe, by... who was it by originally? It's been covered by the Violent Femmes. It's been covered by a couple of people. The Werewolf. Michael Hurley. Good song. He's still around. He was born in 41, so take 4. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to Horror Analysis with me, Drew. Awesome. Today we're going to continue with Section E, non-narrative horror, and we're continuing also with horror music. Last time we went over classical horror music, and today we're going to go over contemporary horror music. But contemporary horror music is such a huge thing that I'm going to have to break it up further, splitting up rock and not rock. I'm going to go over the not rock first. It's a little bit shorter. I have less of a handle on it, to be honest, because I'm more of a rock fan. I do have to remember to do some of these. So, what is anyway. So, Michael Hurley is a folk musician. He did a song called The Werewolf, which is a very good song. It's not horror, though. He's saying he is the werewolf, and he's trying to, the song is, see how bad my life is because I'm stuck being a werewolf. I guess I get it. It's the werewolf, as King states, where it's the, you feel bad for Dr. Jekyll because he's got to deal with Mr. Hyde. And you don't get a graphic description of the killing the woman, but he does kill a woman. He's just a lonely guy because he's a werewolf. It's basically Michael Hurley.